What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Valley Sports Podcast. I am your host, George. How's everyone doing tonight? It's the live stream. Week 12 is in the books. Week 13 is on the horizon. Already coming up on week 13, Thanksgiving, and that's not something a lot of us want to hear. It's actually crazy, but we're here. Like I said, come in, ask your fantasy questions, ask any questions about football. We're hanging out all night. And tonight I'm repping the Vikings in honor of another receiver that's wasted on their team, a Hall of Fame receiver, because J.J. McCarthy is absolutely one of the worst picks I've seen in a long time. He looked horrible yesterday, throwing some of the worst interceptions of all time, and he made Justin Jefferson a ghost, which is impossible to do. But again, if you're joining us tonight, I'm going to be here previewing Monday Night Football, watching along Monday Night Football, and talk about fantasy. Come in, ask your questions. I'll answer anything you got, and make sure you subscribe. And we're going to try and have a good time tonight. So just want to adjust my camera really quick before we get going. All right, that looks better. This freaking mic sometimes is such a pain. But let's jump in first. Everyone, don't worry. Josh Allen will be fine. He had 10 points on Thursday night, probably his worst performance of the year, but he will be fine. Everyone, don't worry. He's still probably the best quarterback in fantasy. It's not the end of the world. Houston defense is that good. That's all I have to say. And what did he get sacked? 8 times. Lost that game. They don't look like a Super Bowl winning team at all. They need alpha receiver one, and the receiver they had is sitting in New England with the new quarterback. But that's besides the point. It's just sad how things ended there. I really thought Allen was going to get his ring with Diggs, but was not the right move. Not the right move at all. Not a fan. But I don't think you're going to be winning Super Bowls with Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman as your receivers. James Cook is still elite, clearly. Had, 22 points against one of the best defense in the league besides the Browns. And Davis Money Mills won another game for them, even with this horrible offensive line play. And just in general, they're just an average team with an elite defense. Nico Collins was a little bit non-existent. I'm not a fan of that, but it was a weird game. It seems like Mills likes to force feed Collins, so I feel like Mills is better for Collins in fantasy when it comes to that. But let's jump in because the game is starting in about 20 minutes. 49ers and Panthers. Niners are 7-4 and they're third in their division, which is just goes to show you how good the NFC West is. It's absolutely stacked. You got the Super Bowl favorites, my Super Bowl pick in the Rams, sitting at number 1. Number 2, Seattle at 8-3, another elite team. Darnold's playing out of his mind outside of one game. Jason looks like he's going to go for 2,000, but we'll get to him. And then we got San Fran at 3, a perennial Super Bowl contender every single year, it seems like. Since for how long I can remember, since 2010, seems like San Fran is just in the mix every single year, and they just can't get over that hump. They haven't won since Steve Young in the 90s. And they've been to the Super Bowl about 3-4 times since. I don't know. That would really piss me off as a fan. But tonight should be interesting. I'm excited to watch. McMillan should have a huge game. 49ers secondary is not that great. Probably they're bottom 10, but they're not bottom 5. Him and Bryce are starting to find a connection, and he's showing he's the best rookie from that class, easily. Ted McMillan is the best rookie that was out of that class, and I said that from the beginning. And everyone was glazing Egbuka early on in this year because A, he's got the Ohio State in him, and B, he was on an offense that put up a lot of points. But McMillan was flying under the radar because he had almost as many yards as Egbuka, but just not as many touchdowns because the Panthers don't score. They're a very average offense, but they've been playing pretty well this year. They could fight for wild card, but NFC honestly. A lot of after you get past like the 5 really bad teams, then it's a fight in both leagues, and it's gonna be fun. The playoff races are gonna be fun, especially with Jacksonville and Kansas City. Jacksonville winning yesterday was so huge, because nobody wants Kansas City to make the playoffs, and they got the tiebreaker over them. That Monday Night Football game is going to come back to bite Kansas City in the ass, and a lot of people don't realize that. But I think the Niners should win tonight at home, but Tet should have a big game. Dowdle might have a solid game. CMC is going to do his thing. They're going to force feed him, and he's going to get his 20 points like he always does. He's just been money in fantasy. But, again, it just scares me how much he gets in fantasy. He gets 20, 25 touches every game, and it's just not appealing. But moving on, let's recap Sunday. The Giants, again, it seems like this year the Giants are trying to win the most spectacular loss award, even though it doesn't exist. Again, they lost in overtime. Jahmyr Gibbs had probably the greatest fantasy day we've ever seen. 59.8 points in PPR. He had 60 in one other league of mine that has bonuses. I don't think I've seen someone score 60 ever, which is just insane. He had 2 insane long touchdowns. The Giants defense is absolutely just washed and cooked. Awful defense. But Jameis shined. Jameis had probably one of the most spectacular catches I've ever seen, ever. And they ruined it. Jameis had a spectacular day, and they just threw it in the wash. But I'll tell you this, as a Giants fan, I'm happy they lost, because it was, honestly, Jameis should have been starting from week 1. There was no reason Russ should have been playing for this team. He's clearly old, and all he's got is his moonballs that worked against Dallas because their defense is absolutely putrid. But Jameis is fun. Jameis makes Wandell a wide receiver 1 in fantasy. Absolute difference maker on this offense. He just fire. He doesn't care. He's at the point of his career where he knows what he is. He's a fill-in quarterback who can make plays, but he's not a winning quarterback. He's not someone you're going to build your franchise around, but he's very, very, very fun to watch. And when Jameis is starting in the NFL, the league is fun. He's kind of like the new age Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's probably never going to make the playoffs, and he's going to have a lot of spectacular, insane moments and a lot of spectacular, insane losses. But if you're joining me, just drop your comments, any fantasy questions. I'll help you out. We're still talking about the Giants. I love how Tyron Tracy was used yesterday. Solid RB2 going forward for the rest of the year. He was solid last year. Scatterboo coming in kind of X'd him out, but I think from now on, if you are in a pinch, because running back is already a scarce position, and you luckily took him later in the rounds, and you're still fighting for that playoffs, perfect fill-in running back. He'll get you at a minimum of 10 points most games because he gets every touch. Especially with Jameis running this offense, a lot of teams are not gonna hold the Giants to little points because the Giants' offense scores a lot. It's their defense that's horrific. But Shane Bowen has been fired, and I'm happy about that because he has been horrific. And a little applause for Shane. Joe Schoen, you probably are next. And I don't know. I feel like I was wrong about the Giants. I thought they were closer than what they are, but it doesn't help when your best receiver and top 5 receiver in the league is done for the year and your defense is leakier than a broken faucet. So, but I guess we'll just have to see. If they have the second pick with Jackson Dart, who we all think is most likely their quarterback of the future, it's a pretty good spot to be in, honestly. A lot of QB teams are going to be willing to give you everything you want to move up to that spot. And I think they're going to be able to get so many assets to move down, and they're not going to have to draft at the second spot. So, but Wan'Dale Robinson, have a day. Absolute stud. 30 points with Jameson. We all knew that was going to happen. Jameis just loves slinging that rock. I love him as a low-end wide receiver 1 for the rest of the season. As long as Jameis is starting, there's probably only like 15 guys I'd start over him because it's just how much volume he gives to him. Jameis is so good at fantasy that he made Jerry Jeudy a wide receiver 1 last year. Just think about that. Jerry Jeudy, who is the definition of a jag, just a guy who's not good. He went high in the first round, and when he got taken over some pretty good players, and He's never done anything except for that 8-week stretch of when Jameis was on the Browns, just slinging it every single play. And Wan'Dell's already a solid receiver. He's probably better than Jerry Jeudy. And with Jameis in, he's going to be a really, really great asset to fantasy teams going forward for the rest of the year, just as the playoffs is coming around. Because the Giants are at that point where they don't give a shit. They're going to be slinging it every play. Wan'Dell's going to probably average like 12 to 15 targets a game, and you can't ask for more than that. You're getting that from a guy that went past the 10th round in most leagues. But unfortunately, one of my favorite running backs in the league, David Montgomery, is not a must-start anymore. It's clear that while he is a change of pace back, he does not get receiving work, number one. And number two, Gibbs is just too good. That's just what it is. It's not like the Falcons. Algiers not even startable. That's also another thing. But Gibbs is just unbelievable, man. Like, Montgomery couldn't even steal any of his touchdowns because he was just scoring them all from 50 yards out, which is just hilarious to me. But yeah, one of my favorite running backs because he's won me 2 championships in fantasy back when he was on the Bears. I had him another year with his first year on the Lions, and he did not do enough for me in the championship, so I ended up losing that one. But unfortunately, he's not a must-start anymore. I don't trust him. This was a week where you would expect him to maybe get like 15 to 20, like his usual like 80 yards and a touchdown, 1 or 2 catches, but he was just non-existent. Gibbs took all the long touchdowns, all the work, everything. It just got to the point where there was no point of putting Montgomery on the field because of how well Gibbs was playing. He was shredding this defense. The Giants' defense is horrific. Like, it's tough to watch, honestly. But moving on, the Chiefs won in overtime yesterday. They were down 20-9, and I'm really just annoyed about how it happened because it was so clear what the narrative is. I yelled about this on the stream the other night that the NFL will not allow the Chiefs to lose this game, and it's clear what happened. They were out penalized 7-0. I don't think the Chiefs defense got a single penalty, which is just insane to think about. But Colts let the NFL down. Most of the NFL was probably rooting for the Chiefs to lose. Everyone wanted them out of the playoff race, but this win put them right back in it. But thankfully, the Jaguars took care of business and helped out because they have that tiebreaker. The Jags need to keep winning to keep the Chiefs out of the playoffs because that comeback yesterday was just crazy. But with the Chiefs offense, I think, honestly, Rashee Rice is the only auto start. It's just crazy to me. This guy just gets fed targets without fail. This guy could have 2 points going into the fourth quarter, and Mahomes will just give him 5 screen passes on one drive and save his fantasy day. It's just so funny to me how force-fed this guy is. But he's a great receiver in fantasy. That's all it is. He's kind of reminds me of Debo, where he's very good after the catch, and especially on the Chiefs offense, where they're always going to be in close games, or they're going to be able to put up a lot of points because of it's Mahomes. Like, you can hammer on Mahomes all you want. He's still great. But people panicking on JT, he will be fine. Everyone relax. It's one game in Kansas City. Like, unless you're using him in DraftKings, you have to start him. If you use him in DraftKings yesterday, you're an idiot. That's all I have to say. Like, I would not use $10,000 on my $50,000 on Jonathan Taylor in Kansas City. I don't care how good he's playing, but you can't fault him for getting 8 points. It's the Chiefs defense in Kansas City, and the Colts decided to just not give it to him, which was stupid. I don't understand why they didn't just honestly force feed him at the end of the game and make him be the one to win it. But what are you going to do? But I think the Colts will be fine. They're a little fraudulent. I didn't like how they looked in fourth quarter and overtime. Jones looked lost. The offense just looked very easy to stop. They looked stoppable. I feel like if you take Taylor out of the game, they're very useless, and that's not a good sign. Their defense is elite. Their offensive line is elite, but the thing is, they're not one of the things. So, yes, I did see that TikTok. Yeah, there's many guarantees in the sports world. Turning on the OKC game and Shai shooting free throws, and throwing on the Chiefs game and Rashee Rice is receiving a screen pass. Yeah, you could say that again. That is 100% true. But again, JT will be fine, everyone. Don't worry. He's still the first or second best running back in fantasy. It's one game. All right. It's not the end of the world. But the Patriots are the first 10-win team in the NFL. And I didn't expect that. They were my bet of the year, over 7.5 wins, but I didn't expect this. This is insane to me. It is honestly crazy how they rebuilt faster than the Jets have made the playoffs, which I'm sorry, Jet fans, and I'm sorry to my co-host Timmy, who's a Jet fan. That is just disgraceful. It just goes to show you that it probably is your ownership. And that, I don't know. But 10 wins already for the Patriots. It's looking like the AFC might run through New England. It's looking like New England and Denver are the two that are on that little fast track to being the ones that control the entire AFC division. But my thing with the Patriots is they start out very slow a lot of games, because I have a lot of Drake May in fantasy, and like especially the last couple of weeks, they would go down 10-0, 7-0, like as in like where they get the ball first and the other team would score after, and then they would start their onslaught. Like yesterday, before that pick 6 to Flacco, they were like down most of the game, and their offense was getting stopped a lot. Drake May looked very shaky. He was missing some throws, and he threw a bad interception. I think they got to use Henderson more, but I think May is still elite in fantasy, but he's very limited. The thing is like he hasn't been in many very shootout level games, to where yesterday had all the makings of being a shootout, but the Patriots defense just completely shut down Flacco. It also helps when Jamar Chase isn't playing. So, but yesterday was tough, because when the pick 6 happened and they got down to the 5 like a bunch of times, and they kept running the ball with Stevenson, and he kept getting stuffed, and then they ran a couple plays and a couple holding calls that brought him down to the 1, and they just couldn't punch it in. They did a tush push to Drake May, and it didn't work. Ironic, right? But my thing is Henderson's usage is very concerning. Very, very, very concerning, because everyone who's celebrating, you got the steal of the draft, if you're still in your playoff race with Travion Henderson, you're going to win it all. No, absolutely not. It's very clear that Mike Vrabel trusts Stevenson so much that he would rather live and die by Stevenson's fumbles than to use a rookie. And it's just it is what it is. He's winning, and you can't fault him for that. But it might come back to bite him in the ass if you're not using your best players. I just don't think it's in your best interest to do that. I think Henderson should be getting about 70% of the touches. If you want to give it to Stevenson at the 1, then keep getting stuffed at the 1. Go crazy. I don't know what to tell you. Hi, Nick. How's it going? And no, Randy Moss is not better than Jerry Rice. But I'm wearing this jersey in honor of the Vikings ruining 2 Hall of Fame receivers, because now they have a quarterback that's even somehow worse than Nick Mullins throwing to Justin Jefferson. But we'll get to him. The Ravens make it 5 straight. They took out their ping pong tables and their billiards tables and their Wii U's, their Nintendo 64s, and now they're winning. They're all winning again. 5 in a row, and now we'll go back home Thursday night on Thanksgiving night and play the Bengals, who might have Joe Burrow back. So you all know what happens when Jamar Chase plays the Ravens. So all I'm saying is, if you're playing Jamar Chase this week in fantasy, enjoy your turkey, take a nap before the game, because it's going to be a long one. He's probably going to drop 40, and it's not going to be pretty, because T. Higgins won't be probably playing. T. Higgins got concussed, and there's no chance he's going to be ready for Thursday night. So expect 40 from Jamar Chase on Thursday. If you're facing him and you need a win, I'll throw up a prayer for you. That's all I have to say. Chase is going to be a long night for you. That's really it. But Derrick Henry is looking like a league winner. He's got a very, very, very favorable schedule for the rest of the season, especially in the fantasy playoffs. But if you're in that race with Derrick Henry on your team, it's looking good for you. And there it is. Yep. Thank you for being your number 1 fan. Oh, man. if you're joining us, drop your fantasy questions in the comment section below. We're going to be rolling through everything today. We're going to be watching the Monday Night Football and just talking fantasy. And I'm just rolling through the league right now. But the Seahawks bounced back very nicely yesterday. Like I said, Sam Darnold just can't seem to beat the Rams. It feels like Sean McVay lives in his head rent-free. And it's sad to see because he is playing out of his mind the last 2 years with the Vikings and now the Seahawks. And God, man, if I was a Vikings fan, I would absolutely hate my general manager, hate my coaching staff for letting this guy go to Seattle. Because now you got to watch him be on the Seahawks for all these years with a stud receiver. And you'd probably be thinking, man, Justin Jefferson could maybe go for 2,000 if Sam Darnold stayed with the Vikings. And it's very sad to see. But I don't know. I like Seattle a lot, but they're just not as good as Philly or the Rams. They're just right. They're right on that cusp. Their defense is elite. And I like that they're finally using Kenneth Walker. Maybe I think under the table, it's crazy to say, it's a little bit of conspiracy that they were afraid of him getting hurt again, which is why we saw so much of Charbonnet. I said Vikings should have kept Sam. Yeah, I agree. And the problem is they took 9 in the first round, and they would have looked really stupid if they let Darnold stay and keep him, because then they're pretty much admitting that they made a mistake. Because, God, all right. Before we get to 9, because we were about to talk to him, JSN, is he going for 2,000? I don't know. Because it's getting to the point. Yeah, I completely agree. Yes. Should have pulled what the 49ers did with Purdy and Lance. Yes. Yeah, if you see who's better, just move on. Admit your pick was wrong. But the problem is they didn't see anything of J.J. McCarthy, which is why they've tried him. But anyone who actually watched college knew about it. And it makes it even worse that the scandal came out that they cheated and he didn't even do anything. He knew what the defenses were doing, and he only had to throw the ball 10 times. He completed 10 passes in the national title game and signed the camera like he did something. He was not good. He was carried by an insane defense with Hutchinson and an insane run game with Donovan Edwards. And yeah, there it is. Michigan didn't cheat. Sorry, Zach. They did, unfortunately. But they still were a very good team. But it's just crazy to me. Even you could admit, Zach, that McCarthy wasn't a good enough prospect to be going in the first round. Who's your offensive rookie of the year? Is it even Dart? No, I don't think it's Dart. Honestly, I think Ted McMillan's got to have that case. He has been Ted McMillan. I'd say the top 3 right now is McMillan, Warren, and honestly, I got to put Loveland in there because, he's looking finally great because he's finally getting the targets, but he is such a good blocker, man. Like, he reminds me of George Kittle so much, and he's got the hands, and Caleb's finally using him. He had another touchdown last week. A lot of people shit-talk them for taking him over Warren, but he fits that Ben Johnson scheme so well. Mason Taylor, big fan of his. I love Egbuka, but he's been a little quiet. He's been very quiet lately, unfortunately. But I think McMillan's got to have the case for the rookie of the year right now. If Dart comes back and lights it up for the last couple of weeks, they'll probably give it to him because they love giving it to quarterbacks. But Egbuka, after that Eagles game where he had that long touchdown, he has done absolutely nothing. It's been very sad to see. That offense is completely just unwatchable. Bucky Irving we don't even know where he is. He could be in Belize right now. He's chilling doing nothing. Yeah, 100%. I said it earlier. I talked about the Monday night game. McMillan's gonna have a nice game tonight. The Niners secondary is a little leaky, and he's finally getting a connection with Bryce Young. I could see him easily getting like 80 yards and a touchdown, maybe over 100. They're gonna have to rely on him. He is such a good player. He's freaking, I don't know. A lot of people were like going crazy about Egbuka, and I think that's more of the fantasy community because once they see a guy like that producing so early from the 9th round, everyone freaking goes crazy, or 8th round, everyone starts going crazy. And McMillan was under the radar because Egbuka had the touchdowns, but McMillan had maybe 2 touchdowns in that game against Dallas, and he was neck and neck in yards with him. And now he scored 2 last week. So, and just like that, he's passing him in yards, and he's looking like the best receiver in the league. Rookie receiver, excuse me. Best rookie receiver in the league. But as a Giants fan, I wouldn't mind if Winston still playing. Yeah, I wouldn't mind it either. I said earlier that they are such a fun team with Winston playing. Absolutely, absolutely fun team because he doesn't care. He made Jerry Jeudy a usable fantasy asset. That guy stinks. And he was my biggest avoid in fantasy this year because he's not good. And Wandell, who is a solid receiver, is now a low-end wide receiver 1 with Jameis starting. It's like insane to watch. Like, if he's starting, you're guaranteed Wandell's going to get 10 targets a game, which is just like that's a guy that went past like the 8th round, and you're getting a wide receiver 1 because of Winston. 6 catches for McMillan tonight. I like it. What are the odds? All this distracts us from the fact that McCarthy's being disrespected, mistreated, forced to fail. The world is against him. O'Connell hates him. Yeah, there it is. All right. There's the most amazing. Like, don't use the Shador Sanders stuff on me, all right? But you know I want to say one thing. So JSN is on pace for 2,000 yards, and Seattle is 31st in pass attempts. Just think about that. This guy could break a record that's been a thing for about 13 years, and no one in the history of the NFL has gone 2,000 yards, and he's doing it on a team that's throwing it the second least in the NFL currently. Absolutely insanity. Hey, VSP, it's me, your biggest fan. What are your thoughts on JSN potentially breaking? It doesn't matter. Listen, people can complain about the extra game, but it's not his fault he has an extra game. Shit happens. But I want to say that it's getting to the point with JSN in fantasy that Cooper Kupp in 2021 was just an auto 25 points without even failing. And JSN's at that point right now, which is actually crazy to think about. If you're holding JSN in fantasy right now, you're looking pretty good, especially going into the playoffs. They're going to be playing teams that they're going to be in close games with, so that he won't be benched for most of the second half. Like the other week against the Cardinals, he had 19 points on the first drive, and he finished with 21 because they were up 35-0 by the second quarter. Hey, VSP, quick thought on a trade that happened in one of my leagues. Yeah, put it in. Yeah, let's hear it. Jason is again there. If Kupp couldn't, I don't know, man. I don't know. He's the first receiver in history to have 75 yards or more in every game. So Lamar, Stevenson, Mason for Burrow and Hunt. Was that our league? JJ shouldn't have said. I don't think that would have helped him sitting behind Sam. I think he's just not an NFL quarterback. Unfortunately. It's just, so when the draft happened, he was plus 2,500 to go in the second round. And I'm like, I mean, I understand it's very, very insane to think about that. There were a lot of QB needy teams in that draft. So when the Vikings had they have the 9th pick, I'm pretty sure, they were dead set on taking a quarterback. But I just thought, I'm like, this guy is just not good, and he shouldn't be going in the first round. He didn't prove anything in college that he's a quarterback that could be used against real NFL talent. He threw 10 passes. He completed 10 passes in the national title game. But he went in the first round, and the Broncos celebrated. You know when Sean Payton's celebrating a team taking a quarterback instead of the one you wanted? You know that's not a good look, because I think this guy knows what he's talking about when it comes to quarterbacks. But I traded BTJ and Rashad White for JSN in a first. Before this season, you just won that trade. Absolutely highway robbery. And is the guy's team bad? Or are you going to have a top pick in the first round? You know, it's crazy to think about. In 2023, in most dynasty fantasy drafts, the first 3 picks went Bijan, Gibbs, JSN. That is generational. And I don't think you're ever going to see something like that again. That's absolutely generational to think about. Daniel Jones, comeback player of the year. Yeah, I think he should win it. But they're going to probably give it to Burrow or something like that because he didn't do anything. No, not Burrow. Oh my God. But yeah, he could win it. But I mean, you got to give it to someone who's really. I think the injuries is more of what you want to give it to. Hey, VSP, is Lamar running back? Yeah, no, but when he gets in the playoffs, he is. So, Rashad White, Mount St. Yeah, man. He's been a lot of people shit talk him because they're Bucky lovers, but I mean, he's been so solid in fantasy his whole career. I mean, even though he's not that efficient, if in a pinch when he has to start, he's been very good at getting points. No, people thought I lost trade. Everyone had need pads for BTJ. Yeah, I was one of those people. I am a big fan of BTJ because, again, he's an LSU guy. I don't like the comeback player of the year being someone who was asked the year before, got him being injury. Thoughts? Yeah, I mean, it really depends because I think DeMar Hamlin should have won it that year because the guy died on the field and should have won, but they gave it to Flacco because he came off his couch and took the Browns to the playoffs. But to each their own. Just the fact that the guy died on the field and was able to come back within a couple of years and play some snaps, even though he's not good. It's just whatever. McCarthy is Harry Dilfer. Yeah, no, I think he's worse. McCarthy is just worse. And it brings me to my next topic. JJ McCarthy, 9, is already a bust. Already a bust. And I've seen enough. If I were the Vikings, I'd say, see you later, brother. That's all I have to say. I'd go pick up freaking like Matt Ryan off the street. I'd rather throw him in there. Or I'd rather it just goes to show you that they were playing Carson Wentz with a horrific injury. And he ended up getting an even worse injury to not play anymore. That's how much they didn't want JJ McCarthy to play. He is horrible. Horrible. Like, ever since he told the league what his nickname was, he's been the worst quarterback in the history of the sport. Like, he's on pace to be like Jamarcus Russell bad. He's had 10 interceptions in his last, 6 starts? So the reason I have this jersey on is to honor another Hall of Fame receiver wasted by the Vikings, because the Vikings are an inept franchise that'll never win a ring, because if you check my last TikTok, my receipts were, that's why you have 0 rings, because you take JJ McCarthy in the first round. So there you go. That's why I'm wearing this jersey. Why did Juco boy legit pass? Yeah, he is. He's like a Shane Vereen, but better at running through the tackles. Giants next head coach, thoughts? I would want John Gruden, but it's not probably possible. You get a chair. Would love John Gruden. That would be electric in New York. Honestly, or some people bring up Bill Belichick. I just don't think he's like the type that you know what it is? He might be past his prime and he might have lost touch with the league and what talent is. No, it's just Olivia sitting in the background. Special guest. But yeah, 9's already a bust. He's not good. And he's so bad that Jefferson's a low-end wide receiver too now. He's like, you have to start him because he went in the first round and it's Justin Jefferson, but you're just begging for him to get 14 at this point, because that's how bad it is with 9 at quarterback. Like, they can't move the ball. They're a useless offense. All he does is sit there with his mean mug like, yeah. And he throws the worst passes of all time. He's horrible. Is Belichick a chick? No. Get a chair? No, I'm sitting in the air. Oh. Thoughts on Sean's thoughts of special guests? Oh, you guys are funny. Funny guys. If you're joining me, ask your fantasy football questions. We're going to be live, and I'm going to throw on the game. I'm not going to be able to show it because then YouTube's going to throw me off again. But we're going to be watching the game, and I think Tet's going to have a nice game tonight. McCaffrey's going to be force-fed to his 20 points again. And Jordan Addison is borderline useless now with 9 throwing, and Jefferson is a scary start. Now let's jump into another one of my favorite quarterbacks. If JJ can miss this week, yeah. I mean, if he misses this week, that's a win for the Minnesota fan base. Who was worse this year, Jay Jettas or Saquon? Honestly, Jay Jettas, because Saquon, at least there's hope, and he's had some decent games. Jay Jettas, I wouldn't feel confident starting him. Yesterday made no sense why Saquon didn't have an insane game against Dallas. They were up 21-0. You would expect them to be force feeding Saquon the ball, but he seems tired. Like, not tired as in like he's out of shape or anything like that, but like why I didn't want him in the top 5 is because I felt like with his 400 plus touches last year and his insane year, he was just due to kind of like regress a little bit. And he's not an auto like top 3 starter this year. And it was very telling how perfect their season went last year, because I just don't think he just looks like he's, I guess motivated is a word, but I don't see him as that type of guy. But it's just coming off a season like that is probably what caused it, because you go for 2,000, you offensive player of the year, insane playoffs, insane Super Bowl run. It's just all those factors led me to not want him anywhere near like the top 7. Like, obviously, if he falls to you at 8, you had to take him because then you just look like an idiot. But there were at least 1 to 7 guys I would have rather have over him. Gibbs, Bijan, was obviously one of them. Jamar Chase, all those guys I was rather taking him. I honestly was taking A-Chain over him as long as he was good with his injuries. A-Chain's just a guaranteed 10 dump offs a game, and that's something you love. Thoughts on online microphone food delivery options? Do you think it's possible with the events? Yeah, advancement of artificial intelligence will definitely lead to delivering food through microphones, and we need that for all PlayStation parties and Xbox parties. But Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle, Murder, Mary, fuck. I would definitely have to kill Bulbasaur, marry Charmander, and you know the rest. That's it. I'm not going to say the rest. But let's jump into my favorite quarterback in the league, Zach's favorite quarterback in the league. Shedeur looked decent. However, he didn't really do much. He completed 6 passes past the line of scrimmage, and it wasn't that amazing. They played the Raiders. Wow, the 2-9 Raiders, and he hasn't changed my mind about him. He needs to show me that he's good against a good defense. The real 12 baby. Sanders, thoughts? Yeah, like I said, he looked decent, but again, he didn't do anything. He completed 6 passes past the line of scrimmage. Myles Garrett is going to break the sack record. It's week 12 and he has 18 sacks already. And it's just, I don't know. I'm not proven wrong yet. I still think Shedeur Sanders stinks, and he's not a starting quarterback. He made 1 decent throw. Everyone's acting like he made the throw of the year. It was a decent throw against a shit defense. Like, congratulations. A win's a win, a completion is completion. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you throw, speaking of completions, if you stepped into the game off the street and spiked the ball 20 times, your quarterback rating would have been less than J.J. McCarthy's. Let's keep that in mind. Shedeur is him, low-key. Yeah, no, he's not. I'm sorry. He's not him, and he's not their franchise quarterback. I don't care. He's not good. And it's going to be proven when he plays an actual defense, because the Raiders' defense is horrific. I hope you recycle that. Thoughts? Yeah, I'll recycle it. Why do you drink like that, though? Drink like what? But yeah. Sampson is a must-start RB1 if Judkins misses any time, because he left the game. He did end up coming back, but then he went back to the sideline. Sampson is decent running back that catches some passes. And I don't know. As a Judkin owner in most leagues, I'm very concerned. They don't give it to him they don't give him dump offs. They don't. It seems like yesterday yesterday should have been a 30-point game from Judkins, is what I'm saying. You get 2 touchdowns that early. It seemed like they didn't want to give him the ball at all. I don't know why. The Raiders are just Is Shedeur better than Dylan Gabriel? Yes. It's, my problem with Shedeur Sanders fans is that they love comparing him to Gabriel, but the thing is like, Gabriel is shit too. It's like, oh, wow, would you rather have a piece of shit or a piece of shit painted gold? They're both pieces of shits, just one's painted gold. Like, what are we doing here? We're comparing Dylan Gabriel to Shedeur Sanders. Dylan Gabriel is horrible, all right? Doesn't make Shedeur Sanders a great quarterback just because he's better than Dylan Gabriel. I think Shedeur should have been maybe a third-round flyer. He shouldn't have dropped to the 5th round, but thoughts on if Cam Ward was a Viking? Honestly, if Cam Ward was a Viking, they'd be a fucking very good team right now. He looks good. Titans are just an inept franchise, and it's a very tough scene for him. Their number one receiver was an old man who I took a chance on in one of my leagues instead of taking Pickens everywhere. I drafted Pickens in every league except one of my leagues. I took Ridley, and that was a horrible decision. But thankfully, I'm still doing pretty well in that league. And when your number one receiver is an old man that has gambling issues, and your O-line is horrible, your running back is has-been in Tony Pollard, you got nothing to work with. The Titans are a shit team. But the one good thing I will say about the Titans is to have the first pick and your franchise quarterback, like I said, with the Giants, it's a great thing to have. Great thing to have. So I think the Titans will be fine as long as they draft well. They got to put talent around Cam Ward. You have the guy, just get it done. The Titans GM and whoever the next Giants GM have the easiest job on earth. Just build around your franchise quarterback. If you can't do that, then you shouldn't have a job in the NFL. End of story. Sorry, I'm just reading the chat right now, but great moments are born from great opportunities. If Shedeur Sanders played them 10 times, they might win 9 times, but not that game. Honestly, they might have won 10 times because the Browns defense is honestly just that good, and the Raiders offense is just that bad. But Myles Garrett is playing Madden stats right now. This guy has 18 sacks. The record's 22.5, and it's week 13. So Gabriel's left-handed. Yeah, Tress left-hander. Honestly, just because he's left-handed doesn't mean you're automatically bad, though. A lot of good lefties throughout history. And I know Zach's going to go crazy because he thinks all left-handed quarterbacks are shit. You can melt the gold shit and turn it into a fantasy football trophy. Easy pick. No, yeah. Yeah, good idea. Yeah. Who else are they going to compare him to? Other quarterbacks that were taken in this draft besides Dylan Gabriel, because that's their only scapegoat, because they know that everyone else knows he sucks. So compare him to Cam Ward or compare him to Jackson Dart, and there's nothing close. Jackson Dart and Cam Ward blow him away. He's a below average quarterback. He's like a freaking Daniel or a Brian Hoyer. He's not that great. Left-handed quarterbacks should be banned from the league. Thoughts? No. I mean, they look funky, but they sometimes work. I mean, Tua turn of the ball over is pretty shit, but us lefties stick together, yeah. If VSP blocked my blindside back in middle school, we could have went to the show. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But let's make fun of the Eagles really quick. They blew a 20-1 lead, and their whole fan base is all hell's broken loose in Philly. There's a Eagles fan on TikTok calling in terrorist threats to their offensive coordinator. They're a ticking time bomb of a team. God forbid you won the Super Bowl and you lost a few games. You're 8-3, and all hell's broken loose. I wish that was the worst of my team right now. That my offense is a little inept and we're 8-3. My steak's too juicy. My lobster's too buttery. Like, stop complaining, Eagles fans. There are 31 other teams in the league that have it worse than you. Just relax. You had one of the most dominant seasons in NFL history last year. You had one of the best teams of all time. You dominated the Chiefs, the team that's backed by the referees, and you're still complaining somehow. Get over it. We told you Jalen Hurts isn't as good as you think he is. Just because you're running inside zone, and trying to throw curl flats to A.J. Brown doesn't mean you're a good team. Sirianni bum confirm Howie Roseman. Yeah, 100% agree. Sirianni is a bottom 5 coach in the league, and it's not crazy to say Howie Roseman is the best GM in sports. Probably there's absolutely no fault in Sirianni, but Howie Roseman built an insane team. Like honestly, it came to my head. I was going to say even JJ McCarthy can win games with this team, but I don't even know if that's possible. Like, I don't know if JJ McCarthy can win anything with this team. But George Pickens is a top 5 receiver for the rest of the season in fantasy. Absolute stud, man. Pittsburgh fans got to be sick to their stomach watching this guy just because he was a little chatty and a little what's the word? A mini prima donna. You traded him. You got A.J. Brown celebrating in the locker room because he had 8 catches. But thoughts on prime James Harden? James Harden is the top of one of my 4 pillars of playoff choking. He is the NBA pillar for playoff choking. He is the biggest choke in NBA history. And no, he is not better than Dwayne Wade all time. But great player. Great regular season player. And I know you're going to hate that statement. If JSN Puka Pickens won. Yeah. Like as in a bet? If you have that bet, I got to see that slip. That's crazy. What? Yeah. James Harden is the biggest choke in NBA history. That's it. Unk, you have CTE. Maybe. I only played football till I was in 9th grade, so maybe someone hit me when I was in 7th grade too hard. Oh, okay. All right, in Dynasty. So I'm happy you brought up James Harden. So I'm going to digress into a side rant. So I'll give you my 4 pillars of playoff choking really quick. All right. I said this on episode 1, but I'm going to bring it up again. So my 4 pillars are the 4 biggest chokes in the 4 major sports: NHL, NBA, NFL, and MLB. So NFL's pillar for playoff choking is Lamar Jackson. Clearly why. He's won multiple MVPs and he can't snip the Super Bowl and can't get past Josh Allen or Mahomes. That's it. NBA, James Harden. He's had multiple opportunity to go to the finals and win it all, whether it was in his first time in OKC or multiple times they couldn't get past the Warriors. They couldn't beat the Warriors the year that Durant and Draymond Green were fighting the entire time, and Curry was injured. Primetime Warriors by himself. Listen, don't miss 27 straight 3-pointers in a game 7. I don't know what to tell you. That series was 100% winnable. 100% winnable. And just, you got to stop relying on free throws. That's all I have to tell you. Like, everyone brings up, oh, he's averaging 40, this and that. But it's easy to average 40 when you got 18 points from free throws. He just doesn't step up in the playoffs when it matters the most. When Chris Paul went down for game 6 and 7, he should have been the MVP and step up and win those games himself, and he didn't. Yeah, I understand it's a team effort, but it's just he didn't play. He doesn't play well in the playoffs. He never played well. Like, again, the year after in 2019, Steph missed most of their series in the Western Conference semifinals, and they still lost that series. James Harden played horrible. Why not Phillip Rivers or Marino or McNabb as a football player? Lamar too soon. Because Marino is because it was very adamant that his defense was the reason that he lost a lot of their games. And McNabb and Rivers don't count because you have to be on the pillar, you have to be an MVP. But 100% Marino lost a lot of their games because of their defense. And he was very solid in most playoff games. But the next one is MLB is Aaron Judge. Obviously, he's the reason why the Yankees can't win a ring for the last 8 years. I mean, Aaron Boone's the number 1 reason, but he's the number 2 reason. Aaron Judge is a huge choke, and prior to this year was batting under 180 in the playoffs. Absolutely horrific. And one good playoff run doesn't change anything. You still lost. End of story. You can't win the big one. You're the greatest right-handed hitter of all time. You need to be better in the playoffs. End of story. End of story. Brady definitely up there. Yeah, in another dimension. The dimension where the Harrison trade didn't go through. And finally, the NHL one, I know, is obviously Connor Hellebuck. He's just horrific in the playoffs. His goals against average shoots up, and he won an MVP last year, and they choked against Dallas. Astros never cheated. Yeah, I mean, in an alternate dimension, maybe, but they definitely did. But at least you helped the Dodgers not win. Doesn't help that Judge is injury prone. He's not injury prone. He's not injury prone. Okay? He hasn't missed any games in the last 3 years. Maybe a few here and there for resting, but he hasn't. The injury prone thing is out the window. End of story. This guy honestly should have 3 MVPs. He should have won in 2017, and he won his second one this year, and then obviously he won in 2022. But this guy could put himself in top 15 all-time talks if he actually brings the Yankees a World Series or 2. But until then, he's not. He doesn't show up when he needs to, and he's very volatile in the playoffs. It's very unfortunate, but it's just sad to see because he is my favorite player in all of sports. He's just amazing. Everything he does is amazing. I'm going to throw on the game on my phone right now, and again, I can't show it because YouTube will go crazy. But again, if you're in here, ask your fantasy questions. I'll help you guys out. Right now, trying to get this game up. Speaking of alternate dimensions, thoughts on a universe where everything is opposite should just cancel itself out and be normal. Yeah, I'd want to be in that universe because then the Yankees would have won the World Series in 2024. What's the purpose of life? What? VSP's number 1 fan? That is Michael. Can you reflect the game off your glasses? Honestly, that's a good idea. I like that. That is a good idea. I might have to do that. But we'll go back to the fantasy talk. Dak Pickens' stack was the steal of all drafts. You could have gotten Dak past the 10th round, and you could have got Pickens in the 5th round. Absolute steal, and they're probably going to win a lot of leagues if you have them too. Just crazy to me how I'm a big believer in you shouldn't be taking quarterbacks early. End of story. That's my thing. So can you reflect the game off? Yeah. If you're taking a quarterback before round 6, you've already lost because your whole season depends on them. Like, look at Josh Allen. If you had Josh Allen this week, you most likely lost because that's your 5th round pick dropping 10 points. Horrible decision. You can get so many other great players by just holding out for a quarterback. I'll give you 4 examples of QBs you could have taken past round 9 and been an elite team this year. Drake May, Caleb Williams, Dak Prescott. Either in 36 leagues or has a roster of 50. Guy has everyone you. Yeah, there it is. I'm actually in 5 different leagues. So nowhere near as many as someone like Matthew Berry, who's in like 30. So, but Niners are up 7-0 already, and the 6 minutes left in the game. So, the Panthers have their new black helmets tonight. Nice. Actually, I like this. I like their uniform combo right now. They're wearing the all whites with the black helmets. I have Olivia sitting here with me. You want to talk at all or no? You good? Yes. If anyone has questions for her, I'll let her know. Not if Superflex or QB League don't take one before this is fixed. Yeah, I 100% agree. So now I forgot what I was going to say because even another guy like Justin Herbert, who probably went close to undrafted in most leagues, has been very solid. Like if you get a quarterback that can get you at least 18 every week in the later rounds, it's such a huge advantage. Like Drake May has saved me so much this year because I don't have to worry about who I'm going to start this week. And I got him so late that my entire team, as long as I didn't draft the worst team of all time, is stacked. Oh, Bryce Jones made a nice throw. Would you rather have 100 Hungry Hippos or $100? I've never had Hungry Hippos, and I'm not sure how they taste, so I'd rather have $100. No, it's are you talking about Happy Hippos or Hungry Hippos? Hi, Olivia. I'm VSP's #1 fan. Can you ask if George can do a face reveal? Yeah, there it is. But I want to talk about the Eagles' offense is very concerning, and I don't like how it looks. Devontae Smith is the weirdest person in fantasy right now. He doesn't know when he wants to get his 20 points. It's either every other week or 2 weeks in a row, and then he'll have a game like yesterday where he scored like 9. AJ Brown told everyone to drop him, and then the next week he drops 20. It's just the most annoying offense on earth. But Saquon is weird, and the only person that benefits is Jalen Hurts because the guy just loves getting his tush pushes. Philly will be fine. All your fans complaining and crying will be fine. You're the third or second best team in the league. Your defense is elite. Your offense will come together come playoff time. I promise you. It's not the end of the world. But the Falcons won without Penix in London, and the Saints are just a bad team. And Falcons are a bad team. But the reason I mention this is because them winning saves the league from a very, very bad thing that could happen. The Rams have the Falcons' first-round pick. So the more the Falcons lose, the better the Rams are going to get. If the Rams have a top 5 pick going to next year, like absolute insanity to think about. Because you're talking about a team that's already perfect in everything. And they have the best coach. They have an elite quarterback, elite running back, elite receivers, elite secondary, elite pass rush. Like, what are they bad at? Now their kicker's actually hitting kicks. Now you're going to tell me they have a top 5 pick in the draft? Like, what is with these Los Angeles teams and just having everything? Everything. But Chris Olave is an auto double-digit wide receiver 2 every single week. He was a guy that scared me. I had him last year, and I was afraid. 1 concussion, and he was done for life. He's a late second to third round pick in fantasy that went in the 8th round. So if you were willing to take that risk, it was an insane risk that definitely paid off. He's been absolutely amazing in fantasy this year. He's just a set it and forget it wide receiver 2 that will get you a minimum of 10 points every week, and it's someone you can trust. Like, if you go into Monday Night Football and for some reason the Saints are playing on Monday Night Football and you need 10 points out of him, you're probably going to get those 10 points because he gets force-fed. Devin Neal looks like a solid fill-in flex because they love dumping it off to him. He's a rookie and looks solid. And they seem to like this kid a lot. But Bijan's usage is very concerning to me. He had 14 points yesterday in a game he should have had like 30. The Saints' run defense is not anything special. But I'm just not a fan of, like, I have Bijan in my 1 league, my 14-man, where I'm currently going to be 11-1. And I don't know. I would rather have Gibbs right now. That's the 1 league I didn't get Gibbs, and because Bijan fell to me at the 3rd pick because the kid in front of me took Saquon like an idiot. But I don't know. The Falcons' offense concerns me. They don't run their offense through Bijan, which they should. And can we please talk about Kyle Pitts, man? He is the pure, unfiltered, unadulterated definition of a generational bust. This man went over 3 future Hall of Famers in Jamar Chase, Patrick Surtain, and Penei Sewell. Actually crazy that this team took a tight end from Florida over 3 generational talents. Just baffling to me. But RJ Harvey breakout weeks incoming. Yeah. But the problem with RJ Harvey is Sean Payton is just such an asshole for fantasy football managers in what he decides every week he has a new favorite running back. So, like last week, he decided to give it to Jaleel McLaughlin at the 1-yard line and just say, okay, fuck you guys. I'm good. It's just, he's just an a-hole. He's been like that all these years because I remember back in 2011, 2012, he decided every week who Drew Brees' new favorite target was, or a new favorite running back, when it was whether it was either Pierre Thomas and Reggie Bush, or then when it became Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. It's just he loves just splitting work. J.K. Dobbins was the exception because he was a veteran runner who he can trust. And Brock Purdy just threw a terrible interception. J.C. Horn, what a pick! Yeah, I hope he gets snaps. He's a great player. I loved him out of college. They got a good one. But I said this last week. Speaking of the Broncos, I didn't really have them on tap to talk about them because they were on a bye. But if they do get the 1 seed and the AFC has to go through Denver, I think they might come out of the AFC. That defense is legit, man. Like, if you think about it like this, they're on par with like the Browns and the Texans, but their offense is actually competent and they have an insanely good head coach. So if you got to go through Denver, go up to the mountains every game, I think they might win the AFC. They're only gonna have to win 2 games. So who are they gonna face? Maybe the Bills, who have known to be choking, and the Ravens, who are also known chokers. Like, I don't know. If the AFC Championship was Bills Denver and in Denver, I don't know. I don't know, Josh Allen. I don't know if Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman will do it for you. But again, the Jags survived yesterday and saved the NFL. And the reason I say that is because they hold the last wild card, and the Chiefs are right on their ass, coming closer and closer. But the Jags have the tiebreaker because they beat them on Monday Night Football. So if the Jags, is it better to wipe sitting or standing up? Standing up. All of our stand-up wipers rise up. Good odds, good odds. To win the AFC, I like that. Especially if you can get it now, because if they lock in the 1 seed, that's probably going to drop to like 200. But as I was saying, the Jaguars have to keep winning to make sure the Chiefs don't make the playoffs, because if they sneak in, they're going to want to put them on this magical run. Like, Mahomes came in as the lowest seed and he went all the way to the Super Bowl after an embarrassing loss to the Eagles the year before, and they won the Super Bowl this year. Absolutely not. I cannot deal with that. I cannot deal with that. I can't deal with these fake narratives by these refs. End of story. Jags, please keep winning. That's all I'm going to say. Just keep winning. Keep them out of the playoffs. I do not want to deal with Pat Mahomes and his little stupidity and the refs and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. I don't care. I don't want to see it. I'd rather watch the Eagles in the Super Bowl again. I'd rather watch the tush push again. I'm done with the Chiefs. Done with them. Someone just end them. I've had enough. I've seen them in every single Super Bowl for the last 3 years. I've had enough of the red. I don't want to hear Arrowhead. I don't want to hear any of this bullshit. I want them out of the playoffs. Panthers are at the 2-yard line right now. 1st and goal. Where does Dowdle end up next season? Bryce. Bryce just threw a bad pick. Bryce Young, man. I think he was targeting Tet. Brutal. Dude, it's 1st and goal on the 2. Just run the ball, man. But I think, and especially with J.C. Horn getting you that interception to bring him in the red zone. Horrible interception. Who was he targeting? Tet? No, he was going to freaking Tommy Tremble. Where does Dowdle? I think they re-sign him, but I don't know. They're in a weird spot because they signed Chuba, and now they're not using him because of how great Dowdle's been. I can see Dowdle maybe going to like the Jets, maybe. I don't know. Maybe they don't want to re-sign Brees. Maybe they can get Dowdle for, I don't know. Who knows? Guarantee Timmy White sitting down. Yeah. I gotta look around. I gotta think about maybe the Saints. I don't even know. Where can he go get paid? I feel like a lot of teams are like not gonna want to pay for a running back. And since he had such a great year, he's gonna demand a lot of money. But McBride, man, another league winner, absolute stud at tight end, looking like 2020 Kelce out there, just dropping 18 plus a game. Jacoby Brissett has saved all Trey McBride owners. No more of the midget running around. And he's looking like a league winner, man. As long as Jacoby Brissett is out there slinging it, I am loving it. And Michael Wilson is a must start as long as Harrison is out with his appendix. And it's crazy to think about that you have your franchise quarterback and he actually makes your people more useless, which is just insane to think about. You took this guy first overall, and all these years later, he's making your players worse. Because of it, is it because of his play style, or is it because I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it seems to me like Jacoby Brissett is like a Jameis Winston, where he does not care. He just goes out there and slings the ball, and it's such a great thing for fantasy. Where does Kyler go next year? I'm pretty sure they have him under contract. I mean, if he does go to the MLB, that'd be insane. But is he still going to be an Athletic? Is he technically still an A? The Las Vegas A is going to have him. Imagine throwing him in that lineup. He's at the prime of his career. He could honestly go to the MLB. He's the only player. Kyler Murray is the only person in the history of the MLB and the NFL to go top 10 in both drafts. Just think about that. Imagine being that good of an athlete. You went top 10 in both leagues, where you could be like, which one should I go to? Absolutely crazy to me. But yeah, you never know. Maybe he does want. Maybe he swaps to MLB. But the MLB is such a tough sport to transition to. Like, even a guy like Dion, who's probably one of the greatest athletes we've ever seen in the entire history of the world, said that baseball is the one sport he couldn't master. Like, he was a starter for years in the MLB, but he was never. He wasn't even really a starter. He was a fill-in guy. He was a utility guy who had some cool moments, but he was nowhere near like a perennial MLB starter. So I think the transition would be so hard for Kyler, especially because he hasn't played in years. Like, look how horrific Russell Wilson looks when he goes to spring training for the Yankees. And that was the guy that was a first-round pick. The Bears survived against the Steelers yesterday. They almost lost to Mason Rudolph. And it brings me to my next point. The Bears, I think, are a tiny bit fraudulent, but hear me out. They're on the right track. I think next year they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, as long as they get a better running back, because Swift is not it. Monangai is not it. Go draft the Jeremiah Love or whoever else. Go take care of your running back spot and absolutely just become the best offense in the league. Because, I don't know, they are concerning. They lead the league in turnovers, but their defense is horrible. Caleb is very week to week, where one week he'll look like Mahomes and the next week he'll look like, I don't even know, JJ McCarthy. I guess JJ McCarthy is my new punching bag. I love Colston Loveland. He's not a must start, but he is promising. He had 14 yesterday? Excuse me. He had 14 yesterday, and he looks like a very, very, very solid tight end to be. Like, the problem with the Bears is that there's too many mouths to feed. Like, you got O'Dunes, you got Burden, you got DJ Moore, you got Swift Monangai. Excuse me? But yeah, Caleb is very boomer bust. He's very week to week, and I'm just not a fan of that. Swift might be cooked. If you have Swift in fantasy, I don't like how they're using him. They're putting Monangai at the 5 every time and starting to just, I don't know. I don't like it seems like the only person in that offense who's startable now every week is Caleb, because O'Dunes has been horrible and DJ Moore is boomer bust. Luther Burden doesn't get enough targets yet, and Loveland doesn't get enough targets yet. But the Rams are inevitable. That's my thing. The Los Angeles Rams, my Super Bowl pick from August, are inevitable. They are the best team in the league. They are the best coached team. They are so disciplined. Matt Stafford is playing out of his freaking mind. He is, got 30 touchdowns and 2 interceptions on the year? Like, he's having like a MVP Rodgers-esque type year where he's like he's going to throw for 44 and like 3 interceptions. Absolutely insane. They're probably going to end up getting the 1 seed, and it's just going to depend on if they can beat Philly. That's just what's going to depend on. I think if they get past Philly, I think there's no one that can stop the Rams. I think if they go to the Super Bowl, especially if they play like the Bills or like Denver, I just don't see a team stopping them. As great as the Denver defense is, I think Matt Stafford will torch them. They don't have enough people that can guard Puka and Adams. So he's just having an all-time season. Like, it's crazy to say, but if Stafford takes this team to the Super Bowl, wins this MVP, and wins again, I think he might be top 5 all time. It's crazy to say. It's crazy to say, but I think he might be in the conversation. I don't know. He's got the numbers. He's got the 1 ring. If he gets that 2nd ring, man, and finally gets that MVP, the elusive MVP that he's been searching for his entire career, I don't know, man. I think he might be in the talks of top 5 all time. We'll see. We'll have to see it. Does he jump Rodgers? I think he does. I don't know. I don't know, man. But I'm not concerned about Puka Nacua. I saw on Twitter and stuff like that Trevor can beat him. Yeah, I don't know about that, brother. That guy is something else. But I'm not concerned about Puka Nacua at all. Absolutely not concerned at all. He will be fine. Everyone needs to relax. Just because he had like 15 points yesterday and Adams is stealing all of his touchdowns, he'll be fine. They haven't been in games where they need him. So once they finally down the stretch, they'll have close games when they play the Niners again and stuff like. Oh, they already played them twice. Excuse me. When they play the Seahawks again and they're in close games, they're gonna need him more. So, but Chris Godwin, you have one more chance. Next week you play Arizona. That's probably going to be a lot of scoring, and their defense is middle of the pack. If he doesn't get me at least like 12 points, I think he is the worst pick, probably the worst pick of the year. And I can't trust him, especially now. No Mike Evans, and they still can't produce. Baker, I hope he plays. If Baker doesn't play, that offense is utterly useless. All of a sudden, now the division is wide open because they could probably lose the rest of the games because Teddy Bridgewater is not it. Like, you can't trust your season on Teddy Bridgewater because already their defense is meh. They have no Bucky Irving. They have no Mike Evans, their safety blanket, and their offense just looked inept. But my question is, like before I asked, where is Bucky Irving? I don't know. The Bucky Irving has disappeared. He's in Belize. He's in Greece. He's in Brazil hiding. I don't know. When is he going to come back, Todd Bowles? Tell us. Where is Bucky Irving? It's like that meme. And the question is, where is Bucky Irving? But yeah. Anyone, I know some people do late trade deadlines, but if anyone's got trade questions, let me know. Or any start sits for this coming week. And don't forget our EFFIE Lifestyle Christmas special. If you need a Christmas present, make sure you follow us or subscribe to us. You get up to 20% off. My girlfriend makes all these handmade bags and blankets. EFFIELifestyle.shop. DM us EFFIE to get 20% off any of your orders. Anything. Handmade bags, handmade blankets, custom yoga mats, all different type of stuff, all handmade, all that stuff. But I'd say right now, if I had to pick the Super Bowl, probably would be no, the Colts aren't making it. As Olivia shouts Colts in the background, the Colts will be eliminated in the first round, unfortunately. But they're a nice story. Jonathan Taylor's been great, and Daniel Jones might win Comeback Player of the Year. Their defense is elite, but I just don't think Jones is the guy that can win the Super Bowl for them. They need a better quarterback. You know, I'm happy you bring up the Colts because it just goes to show you, is Anthony Richardson just really that bad? Honestly, they barely, besides adding Tyler Warren, what is the difference between this year's team and last year's team? Because I can't find the difference. They had Anthony Richardson last year and their offense was inept. It's just, I think Richardson is just that bad. And if it wasn't for J.J. McCarthy, he'd probably be the worst pick of the 2020s. J.J. McCarthy is just, or 9, whatever you want to call him, will probably go down as one of the worst picks of all time. He set their franchise back probably 5-6 years. Justin Jefferson's probably going to want out, but he doesn't seem like the type of player that wants to cry about it. But yeah, For those of you watching, make sure you subscribe. Follow us on TikTok. We just hit 500. Thank you, everyone. We just hit 500 followers on TikTok. Thank you for all the followers. Help us get to 100 on YouTube. We're at 85 right now. We're 15 away. Be that 100th subscriber. Help us. Get us to 100 by the end of the year. That's the goal. But we're having so much fun. We love doing lives or episodes, all the content, all this type of stuff. Shout out LIU. They finished their season strong with a W. LAU, we're gonna try and get some more games next year. So we're excited. But LAU finished the year strong with a nice win at home. Unfortunately, we couldn't come. But another win. Another win. You guys undefeated since we showed up. So another amazing season. You beat Eastern Michigan, your first FBS win in history. And you got to go to Florida. That's an amazing experience. I wish I went to go play the Florida Gators. I don't think, people, our friend Ryan, who invited us to the game, were saying that people were clowning them about that stuff. But I think that's so cool. Like, yeah, I'll go to Florida and let them beat on us. Like, go crazy. But let me know going forward if you want us to do more live episodes with Timmy and Nick or stuff like that. And tonight was fun. I'm probably going to go upstairs and watch the rest of the game and hang out. But this was fun, just airing out the fallout from Week 12. Week 12 is in the books almost. We're almost at halftime of the last game. Thanksgiving is on the horizon, and happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We're probably going to record episode 17 tomorrow in this spot where I'm literally hanging out. And we're not going to do it live. We're probably just going to record it. And yeah, I'll probably upload it Black Friday night. And I'll continue to be uploading clips from everything, our live stream or whatever. We have StreamYard for the month. So we're going to hopefully do a lot more lives. Tune in. I might do another one Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning. Zach, if you're still watching, I'm down to do it with you. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in. With that being said, until next time, and there will be that next time, this is George from ValleySportsPod giving you 1 in 9 dive. That's a wrap. First ever Week 12 fallout. Fantasy football live stream. Thanks for all the questions. Thanks for everything. And I can't ask Nick to flip the switch because it's just me. So I'm going to flip that switch. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Take care.